How are we, boys and girls? Welcome to the Going Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Braam Hein, cruising koala on all social medias, and here we will be deep diving on all things health and wellness related. I'm getting that first try now all the time, and I'm goated for that. Anyway, do I look jacked to you? There's one right answer, but you could give me another answer, and I would be sad. So, don't do that, please. Anyway, to start this episode off, I'm going to say two things. First thing, LeBron James is the best basketball player ever. He is. And I am sorry if you disagree with that because you're incorrect. Anyway, second thing, I'm 24 years old. I'm getting back into WWE pretty heavily now. So I'm 24 years old. I want to say that again just to emphasize the point. I was in bed on TikTok Live watching the Elimination Chamber because I can't watch it on television because I don't have the CBS in America. The CBS. Anyway, and the way that I reacted to John Cena winning the Elimination Chamber, first of all, I'm a child. Second of all, me then having the reaction that I did audibly by myself in a dark room when he kicked Cody Rhodes in the knackers. I love the WWE. It's awesome. And I don't care that it's fake. It's sick. It's so cool. The way that Randy Orton came back and was just RKOing everybody and then almost punt kicked KO. Oh my God. Dude, I was geeking out. I was tweaking out. I'm adjusting my wife beater. I hate how it's called a wife beater as well. Why is it called that? Anyway, I hate that. The episode of today, episode 10. Episode 10. I've had a liter and a half of Diet Coke today, just so you know. Just wanted to say that as well. So I might be tweaking out. Not tweaking out, but anyway. Episode 10, I want to talk about progressive overload because I saw a bunch of videos, just like, I've seen a bunch of videos in my lifetime about it, but like, especially recently, I've just seen like a lot of like jacked, like bodybuilder guys who are probably smart. I don't know, but they're like, you got to progressively overload. Otherwise, you're not going to be, you know what I mean? But like, then they just didn't explain it. So I'm like, you're just going to have random guys in the gym be like, yeah, man, it's just, all it is just progressive overload. But he's like, but they don't know what they're talking. Like, they don't, like, they're just saying words. They're saying buzzwords. Like in an interview, you're like, yeah, credit and debit lines. If you talk about the socioeconomic state of the stock market, it's like, dude, you don't know what you're saying. Like, which is okay. You're like, it's okay to not know what you're talking about. Like, it's okay to not know things. So I want to be the person to help the knowing of things because I know some things. And I have Google, so I can also look things up. Anyway, so progressive overload, what is it? It's just, the premise of it is just gradual increases in volume, intensity, frequency, time, also form is a big thing that can be progressively overloaded. I'll talk about that more later. But that's all it is. It's just gradual increases in those things. So if you're lifting, running, even sports, you can like put it in sports, I guess. If you're increasing reps, if you're increasing your intensity during an exercise of like time under tension or just like speed of the exercise, if you're increasing the frequency, whether it be reps or sets, or, and again, I'm talking about form later, or just time of the exercise, like if you're running, if you do 2 hours in a week and you go, the next week you do 2 hours and 10 minutes, good, nice. You progressively overloaded that specific thing. Why is it important? I think this is going to be a quicker episode, by the way, just so you know, because I don't want to harp on about some bullshit. I just want to give you straight facts. Why is progressive overload important? Because your body constantly wants to stay in a state of homeostasis. Homeostasis being an equilibrium. Hello? An equilibrium. It just wants to stay at a certain point. It wants to be held. This is what it likes. It wants to stay there. If you go outside of it or below it, it's like, hey, don't do that. Come back here. So most people have a regular homeostasis. And if you aren't fit, if you aren't strong, if you aren't, that's about it. No, like if you don't have good health, cardiovascular health, or immune health, whatever, that's your body's regular. And if you want to get it better, you have to push it outside of the homeostasis. So then it's like, oh, no, it's going to try and force you to come back here. But if you stay out here, not like here, if you stay here, it's going to go, oh, okay, I'm here now. I'm going to stay here. So then you have to progressively overload the systems that you're doing to be able to get the new homeostasis here. That's all it is. So progressive overload is the thing where you increase it, it goes here. So then if you don't progressively overload from here, it's going to stay here because your body has adapted. So the principle of progressive overload is you have to keep going just here to increase homeostasis. Because if you don't do that, if you go from here to here, sorry, if you go from here, if you go from here to here, and your body adapts, and you go back to here, this is also going to go, okay, I'm going to slowly go back here. So you have to keep progressively overloading. You have to go from here to here, to here to here, to here to here. If you want to get bigger, get stronger, get faster, get more endurance, whatever it is, you need to keep going. Because if you stay here, then your body's going to stay here. It's not going to adapt. It's going to stay, your body wants to stay in the same spot because it likes being there. It doesn't like change. Your body doesn't like change regardless. That's why when you're in a calorie deficit, you're trying to increase muscle mass mainly, but you're trying to decrease fat mass down to here. So your body's like, no, stay here. So it's hunger cues. Your brain's trying to trick you into eating more food, so you come back here. But if you stay here, it's like, well, shit. New homeostasis. Bang. That's why it's important. So when people are saying, oh, you have to avoid the hunger cues to be able to get down here, that's really what they're trying to say. Is you're trying to underload the system in this case to get down here. But if you want to get stronger, you have to overload the system by doing what I'm about to tell you. So how is it done? So you can't just go from, if you're lifting 100 pounds, say you're benching 100 pounds, make it easy. If you hear someone say, you need to progressively overload, and you think, okay, well, if I'm benching 100 pounds for 10 here, then I have to go to 150 next week. First of all, I don't know where you get your knowledge from, but you sound dumb. I'm sorry. I made up the scenario. But, because that's going to lead to injury, it's going to lead to whatever. Yeah. There's like the kind of principle behind it is you don't want to increase by more than 10% every 2 weeks. Well, yeah, roughly. That's kind of what the rule is if you're pushing it and you're doing all the other right things, you can push it a little bit. But the more you increase, the more chance of risk you have of injury, all that kind of stuff. So if you're lifting, if you say you bench 200 pounds and you do it for 6 reps, if you can do that for 2 weeks and by the next 2 weeks, it's pretty easy because that's what happens. Your body adapts. It becomes easier. If you're like, okay, 6 reps, I could probably do 8, maybe 10, probably 8. Then after a week and a half, 2 weeks, you're like, okay, I increase reps or I increase sets. You can also do that. That's how you do it. You increase the weights or sets, reps, or decrease rest time depending on what you're trying to work. So if you're benching 200 pounds and you're doing like 6 to 10 for 2 weeks, And you start off first workout, you get 6. Next workout, you get 6. You're like 6 and 7. The next one, you get 7 and 8. And by the end of the cycle, the 2 weeks, I guess, you're consistently hitting 10. And you're like, oh, I'm not really, I don't feel like I'm pushing that hard. That's when you increase one of the variables. Don't increase all of them. Increase one of the variables. You add another set to get more volume. You can add more weight to get more time, not time and attention, but get more force on your muscles, more load overall. Or increase just the rep scheme, I guess, if you want to. It's going to train a different system if you do it too much, but that's the main premise of that. But also keep in mind the SAID principle, which is specific adaptations to induced demands, which is your body's going to react and adapt to the specific demands you put it under. So if you're going from more of a strength rep range, which is like the 1 to, there's plenty of studies that you can build strength, whatever, but I'm just talking about in general, like the strength rep range of like 1 to 6. If you're going from 4 to 6 and you're just increasing the reps to 8 to 10, you're still gonna be training strength, obviously, but just bear with me. You're not going to be training that maximal strength as much as you will be just training general strength and general hypertrophy in that rep range. So if you're training for strength, I would more so increase the weight and the actual load that you're doing rather than the reps. I would also urge to increase the sets as well. But if we're talking about something like endurance, where your main goal is to increase time, or like if you want to run a marathon, if you want to run for longer, rather than doing sprints where you're trying to decrease time, I guess, increase power overall. Time is the main thing that you want to focus on. It's the specific thing that you want to focus on within your progressive overload. So you want to increase the time that you're doing it. That's the one thing you want to focus on. Whereas if you're trying to get faster, I would increase the load per se in adding more reps to sprints, adding more reps to your 4x400, to doing like a 6x400, or just trying to, in that 4x400, doing it quicker. That's also progressive overload. Another thing that's really important within progressive overload, going back to the example of the person who's benching 200. If you're benching 200 for 6 to start, this is one of the first times you like bench pretty heavy and your reps are like pretty shoddy, like whatever. You got the 6 reps, okay? Say you didn't increase your reps in the 2 weeks, but by the end of the second week, I'm also, please, I'm using a 2-week example. Progressive overload, it can also happen over a long period of time. Say by the end of however long it is, that by the end of your whatever phase it is, you're still only benching 200. So you're like, damn, did I get stronger? Did I put on muscle? But that 200 that you're doing at the end of it compared to the first, you're clean, super clean. You're down 4 seconds, pause at the bottom, clean up really quickly up. That's very, very good. That's because you're controlling the weight, you're controlling the load, and you're doing it with a lot more intensity, time, and attention, I guess. And it's a lot cleaner. You're activating the right muscles. You're doing all the right things. That's also very, very key. So it's not all about the weight. It's not all about the sets and reps you do. Also, if you're doing it way more under control and with way better form, that is very, very good, because that means you're putting on muscle. You're able to control more load safer, which means that you can progressively overload better in the future. That's what I was talking about before with the form, I guess. So especially with also things like squatting and stuff like that. If you can squat 225, say, and it's like you get it for like 5, it's going down, and it's like going down, and then it's like struggling, whatever. It's like pretty shoddy, like knees are flaring out, whatever. And then you're still only squatting 225 4 weeks later, but it's controlled movement, arse to grass. You're touching your hammies to your calves, and you're able to explode out of it. And it's still hard reps, obviously, but you're able to, those reps compared to the first reps you did, where you're only getting to like about 90 and it's pretty shoddy. This one means you did the right things. It means you're doing all the right things, and you can't worry about the weight and the sets and the reps you're doing, because this looks way better than this. First of all, it's a lot safer, and you're able to produce a lot more force, and you're able to produce a lot more power, which means muscles are growing and or increasing their motor unit rate, which is also really, really good because longevity and also just overall strength. So you get big muscles and very not injury, which is good. How do I say it like that? Anyway, again, why is it so important? Is because if you don't adapt your programming and your weight, let's set reps, form, gonna like really emphasize that part, form especially, you're not gonna be able to do what you think is gonna happen. If you just, I remember I used to, especially for bench, because that's like kind of my main lift, I guess. Not main lift, but like it's one of my better lifts. I used to lift a lot more weight than I do now, because I was chasing the number. Like, I want to get to blah, 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 blah. Like, I think that max, like, I was 265. But even Coach Adrian, who was there, I don't know if he watches this, but when I did it, I was like, I got that. He's like, well, you didn't even touch your chest. You got maybe 3/4 of the way down, and then the ascent of it was awful. I was like, but I still got it though, which I still claim to this day. But anyway, now I'm my 225, whatever. I haven't really done anything more than that. I'm kind of just trying to get 225 for like 10 now, but I'm getting like 225 for 6. Got it for 8 one time. We also got it on camera. Shout out me for that filming that one set. But I'm really controlled on the way down, getting about like touching my nipples. I don't know why I went to the camera after that. And it's pretty forceful on the way up. Usually by the 6 rep, I'm still getting that depth and still getting that form, getting that technique, but it's hard. It's a forceful push on the way up, which means, for me at least, I know that I'm progressing in the right direction, because my form on it is way better. It's way safer. My shoulders don't hurt, blah, 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 all that good stuff. But this kind of stuff is really important especially for athletes, first of all, just because if you don't progressively overload, you're not going to get stronger, you're not going to get bigger, you can be able to perform as well in competition, whatever. Especially when you're bulking, you're growing, you need to progressively overload, because if you're just staying in the same spot with your workouts and doing the same reps, same weight, same sets, if you're just sticking with the same shit, you're not going to grow, you're not going to get stronger, you're just going to stay in the same spot while bulking. So it's kind of like you're not really gaining a lot of muscle mass, you're just not really doing much. And if you're just doing it because you don't want to change it and all your exercises feel easy, then you're not really doing much when you're in the gym. You're kind of just maintaining the muscle you have and just putting on weight for no reason. So, especially when you're bulking, I would push the programming of your overloading, because obviously you're in a calorie surplus, you're in excess. So your body's like, I need to use this somehow. If you're gonna do it, you may as well put a muscle on. You know what I mean? So push those lifts, push those sets, push those reps, push the intensity, get really, really good form, get really healthy joints while you're bulking. Or if you're training for endurance while you're eating a lot, really push those times, push the speed, because you can recover from it because of the nutrition. And progressive overload, because a lot of people don't think you can put on muscle while cutting, or put on or at least maintain a little muscle while cutting or losing weight, whatever. And I mean, I pushed numbers. Like I went from a 205 bench to a 225 bench while losing 10 pounds because I was eating the right things. My sleep was under control, my recovery was under control, and I was still pushing weight in the gym. I was progressively overloading during that phase. I wouldn't recommend that a lot to a lot of people because you need to have really elite programming for that. But you also have to have everything dialed in. And at that point in my life, I had every facet pretty much dialed in, to the detriment of a lot of other parts of my life, which I don't know if I regret. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But it can happen during a cut. So I would still push numbers, because it's the main way to tell that if you're putting on muscle or if you're getting stronger, if you're getting strength, whatever, is by tracking these things. So if you don't track the things, it's also pretty pointless. Like you can do it in your head. I've tried to do it in my head before. Writing them down is the way to go because it's good to track long-term changes. Because I know I've gotten stronger. I wish I tracked it earlier so then I know how I've gained strength over periods of time. But because I know I've gotten bigger, I've gotten lean, not a little bit lean. I don't know about leaner, but who knows? You know what I'm saying? Sorry, but I wish I could have tracked it better because I would be able to see where I kind of went wrong. Different periods of my life where I was more where I was more stressed. I know that my numbers kind of went down there because I couldn't control a lot of things. But if I was able to, I would have, which is good. But regardless, I think I've yapped on for too long for this part. That's my kind of spiel on progressive overload. And why I think it's so important is just because if you don't adapt, you're not getting better. Like, me personally, I like seeing results. I like getting better at things. I like getting smarter at things. I like getting stronger. I like getting more endurance. When I played basketball, I liked hitting more shots out of 10. I liked hitting more shots out of 100. I liked hitting 10 out of 10 free throws, blah, blah, blah. And seeing myself improve especially from my freshman year to my senior year, Jesus. Yeah. Because I like to progressively overload in everything, which is, I don't know if it's a strength or I think it's a bit of both. I don't know if it's a weakness. It's just can be a hindrance sometimes because whenever I don't improve, I'm like, you know what I mean? But regardless, I think there's so many things that people can improve on because you have to get out of that zone of homeostasis. You have to get out of your comfort zone to be able to adapt and it become a new norm. The law of hormesis, I think, is what it's called, is like a little bit of bad of something can help you improve, but like bad in terms of getting like uncomfortable in situations will help you improve a lot. Obviously, if you stay uncomfortable for too long, it's just gonna crash and burn. Couple, heal, whatever. So I think that didn't really make much sense. I can explain that later in a different thing. But being on top of your shit and getting outside of your comfort zone is the most important thing in, first of all, lifting and all things health related, but also just in life, because if you don't get uncomfortable, you will never grow as a person. So that's my spiel. I'm done now. I apologize if I went on 3 different tangents. I definitely did. I always do, but you love me for it. I hope, because I love you. I do. I feel like my voice just went a lot deeper just then. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, regardless. I hope you're all doing well. I appreciate the love and support on this, as always. Hopefully, I'm helping at least a few of you with whatever you're doing. And yeah, I love you. You're fantastic. You especially. You right there. And the guy behind you, right there. I love you. And I hope you're enjoying whatever time you're in right now, whatever period of life you're in, whatever chapter. Hopefully, you're writing it as best you can. And at the end of the day, you're the only person reading that book. So if you want to share it, you can, which is what I'm doing. But you're the only person reading that book. So make it the best book you can. I love you. Put your name in the hat as much as you can. I'm going to say that again because I like that quote. So, I love you. Thanks.